Problem number 8. For the thrust shown in the figure, calculate the stresses in members CE, CD, and DF. The cross-sectional area of each member is 1.8 inch square. Indicate tension or compression. So we have here the given thrust. The first thing that we are going to do is to compute for the reaction of the supports. So since here at point F we have a ruler, we have here one reaction and it is perpendicular to the point of contact. So we have here the reaction Fy. And here at the support A, since we have here a hinge support, so we have two reactions. One is vertical, so that is the AY, and the other one is horizontal, which is the AX. So solving for the value of the reactions, the first thing that we are going to do is to summate moment here at point A in order for us to solve for the reaction at point F. So we have summation of moment at point A is equal to 0, taking the clockwise rotation as positive. So etong si 30 kips ay iikot ng clockwise. So we have here positive 30 multiplied by the distance. So perpendicular distance of 30 kips to point A is 8 plus 8, so that's 16. Here at point F, we assume that it is directed upward. So this reaction here will create a counterclockwise rotation with respect to point A. So we have here negative Fy multiplied by the perpendicular distance, that is 8 plus 8 plus 8. So we have here 24. That is equal to 0. So solving for the value of Fy, then we have 30 times 16 minus 24x, that is equal to 0. Shift solve equals, and we have 20. So here at point F, we have 20 kips reaction. So since positive yung lumabas na sagot, meaning tama yung assumption natin that Fy is directed upward. So solving for the summation of forces horizontal is equal to 0, and we assume that direction to the right is positive. So as we can see here, only the Ax is horizontal force, so meaning Ax is equal to 0. Summation of forces vertical is equal to 0, taking the upward direction as positive. Then we have Ay upward and 30 kips, that's downward, so it's negative. Fy is upward positive, so that's positive 20 is equal to 0. So solving for the value of Ay, that is equal to 10 kips. So since positive yung lumabas na sagot, meaning tama yung assumption that Ay is directed upward. Now, since we are asked to find the stresses in the members CE, ito yun. The member DE, so ito yun. And the member DF, ito yun. So we have different options in order for us to solve for the reactions. You can make use of the joint method, the section method, and of course the graphical method, which is the Maxwell diagram. So in here, ipapakita ko ay joint method. So we will start at joint F. So at joint F, we have Fy directed upward, that's 20 kips. And we assume that EF is tension. So i-assume natin siya na away from point F. And this is the EF. I-assume natin na yung DF is compression. So it is directed towards point F. And for the slope, you have another option here, either compute for the angle here or make use of the slope. So gagamitin natin dito yung slope. So since we have 6 rise and 8 run, so pwede natin tong i-reduce, divide everything by 2. So si 6 divided by 2 is 3, and this 8 divided by 2 here is 4. So we have 3 rise and 4 runs. So solving for the diagonal, since this is a perfect triangle, meaning we have here the value of 5 sa ating diagonals. So since DF lang naman yung kailangan natin, kahit hindi na natin isolve si EF. So we have summation of forces vertical is equal to 0 taking the upward direction as positive. Bakit vertical yung pinili ko? Kasi kapag pinili natin yung summation of forces horizontal, we have 2 unknowns here, the EF and the X component of DF. Since in here we have the DF directed to quadrant 4, if you want to review regarding with the direction of the and the sign conventions of the components of forces, ay pwede ninyong i-check yung previous video uploaded regarding this topic. So we have here the DF, since it is directed to quadrant 4, so we have negative y component, so it's negative DFy. Then 20 kips here is directed upward, so it's positive 20 is equal to 0. So negative DF for the y component, so titake natin yung vertical, so that's 3 over the diagonal, which is 5, plus 20 is equal to 0. So solving for the value of DF, we have here negative x multiplied by 3/5 plus 20 is equal to 0. Shift solve equals, and we have 33.33 kips. And since positive yung lumabas na sagot, meaning tama yung assumption natin that DF is compression. So meaning this is compression. Okay, so lipat tayo sa joint D. So at joint D, we assume that DE is tension, so it's away from point D, and this is DE. And since we already computed that the DF is compression, so it should be towards point D, and it has the magnitude of 33.33 kips. And of course, this is the slope of 3 rise, 4 runs, and 5 diagonals. And for BD, we assume that BD is also compression, so it's towards point D. And this is BD. So si BD, kung titingnan natin dito, ay the same lang siya ng slope sa DF. Kasi 6 rin yung rise and 4 runs, so that would be 3 and 4. So ang slope natin dyan ay 3 rise and 4 runs. So diagonal is equal to 5. So solving for the value of BD and DE, kung titingnan natin dito, if we are going to summate forces vertical, dalawa yung unknown natin. That is the BD and the DE. But if we are going to summate the forces horizontal, so yung may horizontal component lang ay si BD at si 33.33. And then we can solve for the value of BD. So first thing is summation of forces horizontal is equal to 0, taking the direction to the right as positive. So we have here BD multiplied by the X component. So yung X component niya, yung 4, and the diagonal 5. Minus, kasi ito is directed to quadrant 2, yung arrow natin is towards point D. So, yung X component nito ay negative. So, that's 33.33 kips multiplied by the horizontal component, so that's 4 over 5. This is equal to 0. So we have BD is equal to, so by symmetry, kung makita natin dito, makakancel lang naman itong si 4 over 5, and meaning si BD is also equal to 33.33. So 33.33 kips. And since positive yung lumabas na sagot, so tama yung assumption natin na this is compression. Since we already have the value of BD, pwede na tayo mag-submit ng forces vertical para makompute natin si DE, kasi si DE yung talagang kailangan natin. So we have summation of forces vertical is equal to 0, taking the upward direction as positive. So si BDY ay directed to quadrant 1, so positive yung Y component nito. Since BD is equal to 33.33, so it's 33.33 multiplied by the vertical component, so it's 3 over 5. And kung titingnan natin dito, CDF, which is also 33.33, is directed to quadrant 2. So positive yung Y component nito. So we have here plus 33.33 multiplied by the Y component, that is 3 over 5. And the DE is directed downward, so it's negative. DE is equal to 0. So solving for the value of DE, we have here 33.33 multiplied by 3 over 5. Since dalawa sila, times 2 ko na lang to, minus DE, which is X, is equal to 0. Shift solve equals, and that would give us 33.996, or approximately 40. So this is equal to 40 kips. Now, lilipat tayo sa joint E. Okay, kung titingnan natin dito, yung DE natin is positive. So, tama yung assumption that DE is tension. So, it's tension. So, if DE is tension, so meaning here, DE is away from point E. And that's 40 kips. Now, for EF, i-assume natin yung EF na tension din. So, it's away from the point, and this is EF. And si EB ay i-assume natin na tension din, and this is away from point E. And we have here the load of 30 kips. And we have the CE, so i-assume natin siya na tension din. So, for the slope of CE, kung titingnan natin dito, we have 6 rise and 4 runs, so that's 3 rise. So we have here 6 rise and 8 runs, so ibig sabihin that's 3 rise and 4 runs then. So meaning here we have 3 rise, 4 runs, and 5 sa diagonals. So kung titingnan natin dito, since CE lang naman yung kailangan natin, then if we are going to summate forces vertical, makukumpute na natin si CE. So summation of forces vertical is equal to 0, taking the upward direction as positive. Then we have here 40 kips, it's directed upward, so meaning it's positive. We have here 30 kips, it's downward, so it's negative. And CE is directed to quadrant 3, so meaning the vertical component of CE is negative. So it's negative CE multiplied by the vertical, so that's 5, so that's 3 over the diagonal 5. This is equal to 0. So solving for the value of CE, then we have, so we have 40 minus 30 minus X multiplied by 3 over 5. This is equal to 0. Shift solve. Equals, and this is 16.67. So we have here 16.67 kips. Since positive yung lumabas na sagot, meaning tama yung assumption natin, that CE is in tension. Since we have our formula, since we are required to compute for the stresses, so stress is equal to force over area. So, isa-isahin natin. We have here member CE. So, si CE is 16.67. So, stress in CE is equal to force CE over the area of CE. So, we have stress in CE is equal to that 16.67 kips over the area of CE, which is 1.8 inch square. So, solving for the stress in CE, that is equal to 16.67 divided by 1.8, and that is equal to 9.26. So we have here 9.26. The unit is kips per square inch, or KSI. So we have the CE, which is tension dito. So meaning yung stress natin dito is in tension. So for member DE, we have stress in DE is equal to force in DE over area of DE. So we have stress in DE is equal to, it's 40 kips, and the area is 1.8 inch square. So we have stress in DE is equal to, so 40 divide 1.8, so that is equal to 22.22 PSI. And since it is in tension, meaning this is tension. And last one we have for the DF. Stress in DF is equal to force DF over area DF. So we have here stress in DF is equal to force in DF, so that is 33.33 kips over the area of 1.8 inch square. So we have stress in DF is equal to 33.33 divide 1.8, that is equal to 18.52 KSI. So we have here 18.52 KSI, and since this is in compression, so we have here compression. Ito yung ating answers.